Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Keya's second book reading session on her new book, a book on how to write a book. So, Keya, over to you, and why don't you start by introducing your little self and all the big work that you have been doing?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on my second book reading for my third book, which I wrote, book on how to write a book. This book wouldn't have been possible without the support of everyone who helped me win NYAF 2022 and 2023. I would like to share how I got inspired to write this book. So I had the chance to meet Mr. Ami Dror in Gurgaon earlier this year at the BriBooks National Young Authors Fair award ceremony. He encouraged me to write a book on how to write a book, which could just inspire so many others. And this book is written to assist young and maybe even older authors to share their own stories with the world. This is another reason for which I wrote the book. While writing the book, I couldn't find a guide, I couldn't find a guide which helped other young children to write books. So I thought that as an author, it would be good if I could help others to share their stories with the world. So yeah, and before we get started with this amazing session, for those interested in buying this book, it's available in BriBooks in three formats this time. One which is the ebook version, the second which is a black and white print, and a colored paperback. If you want, you can even get an autographed copy directly from me by ordering via the AMPS book order link, which I'll be sharing in the chat box soon, or WhatsApping me in the number which you can see above. So do hurry, as it takes 3 weeks to get the copy order in your hand. And a surprise is that a big giveaway for anyone that orders a colored paperback copy of my book will get a calendar having artworks made by me and other artists. And now I'm excited to read a few excerpts from my third book. A book on how to write a book. A young girl's learning in life has been to write a book that has truly had an impact on society. She aims to inspire others with this learning to become great writers and storytellers. This book is dedicated to all aspiring young authors. So this book is for you. Inside these pages, you'll find friendly guidance on how to turn your thoughts into stories. Let's start this writing adventure one step at a time. Remember, writing is like a journey with no wrong turns. So grab your pens, open your imagination, and let's create something wonderful. So my inspiration for this book has been Mr. Ami Dror, who is the founder of the world's largest children book writing platform, allowing us to write, publish, design, and sell our books online. He realized how expensive and difficult it is for children to write and publish books and then take them to the market. This motivated him to make an accessible platform for children to publish their books all by themselves. This platform truly has been the changing point in my life. BriBooks has not only been the pillar behind helping me publish my books, but has also taken them to attend some of the largest literature festivals in the world. So thank you, Mr. Ami, for encouraging me to write this book when we met in March 2024. I believe this book will inspire many aspiring writers across the world to begin creating their literature masterpieces. Mr. Ami once said, books have a very special thing to them. They never die. They last forever. Every book that you wrote, every book that you printed will always be there. When you have this ability, you are unstoppable. So now these are all the chapters in my book. Since last time you might find 2 new chapters, and the new 2 chapters are Your Cause Sets Apart Your Story, and Chapter 10, which is the New Beginnings. So, Chapter 3, Story Framework. Writers need to understand the importance of outlining before diving into writing a book. Whether it's a detailed chapter outline, a simple beat sheet, or a visual map, having a roadmap is crucial. One popular method of outlining a story is creating detailed chapter outlines. This involves breaking down the entire book into chapters and summarizing the main events, characters, and plots. While some people may think that outlining doesn't let the creativity flow, having a roadmap can free up the mental energy by allowing more creative exploration. Outlining is an essential tool for any writer looking to create a good book. So whether you're using a detailed chapter outline or beat sheets, taking the time to plan out a story before starting to write can make all the difference in producing an interesting story. Chapter 9. Your cause sets your story apart. Ask yourself a question. How am I different from all the other authors out there in the world of literature? When you write about something that means a lot to you or a cause you truly care about, it makes your story stand out from all the commercial stories out there. Trust me, every story is unique. Never forget that when you write about your own cause, something that's personal to you, it will create a deeper impact. It will create a deeper impact than a made-up story written just to please the audience. There's a power in writing from the heart, and when your story is pushed by a cause that matters to you, it will surely relate with the readers. The difference between a good story and a great one is often the cause behind it. A story with a cause feels alive because it's more than just characters, relationships, and imagination. It carries meaning. And that's what makes your story unforgettable. When you write from a cause you believe in, trust me, it does separate you from the crowd. It's like a fingerprint on the page. No one else can tell the story the way you can. And that's the secret. Your cause is what makes your story stand apart from the thousand of others. And that's what makes it matter. Thank you.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Now let me get, the rock star of the evening on the pin with you. Hi, Jit. Good evening. Can we also do a small reading of your book? And
Yes, Auntie. So, this is my book, the sequel to the first book, The Legend of Icarus, A Flight of Destiny and a Mythical Odyssey. So, the blurb is, forget everything you knew about the hero Icarus. 5 years after defeating a villain, Mithro, in this new sequel, which is Icarus, A New Generation, Icarus is itching for a new quest. But this adventure blasts off in a mysterious message reveals a shocking truth. The Omniverse is threatened by his own friend, Zrono. Can you believe it? Icarus, with his trusty crew, or are they, zooms through mind-bending dimensions, unlocking awesome powers and making crazy allies. Ever heard of a warrior named Bladerman? But the ultimate foe is a monstrous serpent with enough power to destroy everything. Will Icarus rise to the challenge and become the hero of the Omniverse? Or Zoro's darkness consumed them all. The epic battle between good and evil is with a mind-blowing twist, and it will leave you breathless. Don't miss out on this action-packed adventure. Grab your copy of Icarus and join the fight for the future of the entire universe. Now, my favorite chapter is chapter number 10, The Battle of Dimensions. We woke up as prisoners in cuffs made out of gold while we were being escorted to our cell. I saw that all the other prisoners had silver cuffs. So I was wondering, wait a minute, they're going to send us to a maximum security cell. So I jumped and drop kicked my guard. Then with my power of fire, I burned the cuffs. I also set free my friends too, and also kicked some butt along the way. When we came to the throne room, we saw Zorono in a powerful form. And I thought, wow, that looks powerful. And that looks like a real challenge. And I said it out loud to just irritate. While he became angry, he charged at us. But a force stopped him. It was Shira and Kuru. I was shocked that they came, and Sonia said, "Are you bored, guys?" And they replied, "Yes, it has been boring staying in our house for more than 1,000 years." So basically, Shira and Kuru are eternal immortals along with their other ally Sonia. And they're basically brothers and sisters. He introduced all of us to them. Except Bladen. I said, "Why didn't you introduce him?" They said, "We already know him. Even the whole universe knows him." Well, and once we finished talking, they kicked Zorono's head, pushing back to the throne. We were so happy, but not happy enough. So we got our weapons and ran as fast to him and struck him before he got up. He stayed on the ground and his ashes went up into the air as he passed away. Then the final rumble happened and the serpent came out of the ground. Instead of his eyes becoming blue, which means he's passive, it was red. And I knew what it meant. He wanted to kill us. So, as we engaged onto him, we found tricky ways to stop him from moving and to strike him with our weapons. While fighting, I pulled out one of his fangs. He roared and wiggled itself so that I could fall, but I hanged onto him. So I struck his head with his own venomous fang, and his whole body fell down to the ground. So this is the image of a warrior, Zorono. Into the ground, while the others weakened him so much using their own strikes. I did the last blow, hitting with my sword. Before we left this mysterious planet they lived on, far away from them, we delivered gifts to the other in the family. They were happy that the father died because he was dark-hearted, he was cruel to those people. But sad the son died too because he was pure-hearted unlike his own father and kept on embracing everyone. But in the future, like you know, they betrayed them. He betrayed them. Only after that we left the planet. Once we reached Shira said, "Wow, you are special, my friend. You will face bigger challenges along the way and complete them." I said, "Thank you" to him, and he left. Guru also complimented me and left, but at the end, Sonia himself, who was still in the allies, foregoing. Well, here's one thing: you will meet one more new person in the team, which will help you a lot. And here is the hint first. His name starts with A. That's a character I'm going to be introducing in another book, and also maybe meet them in another. We'll never know.
So that was Jit. So Jit is a 10-year-old rock star, and he has written not just one, but many, many, many books. He's a 10-year-old literary genius, wows readers with his imaginative novels that you can see. And from the Legend of Icarus series to Tackling Sound in the Bush, he explores deep themes recognized. So Jit is recognized also by the India Book of Records, and his talent and kindness inspires many, many young authors. So thank you for doing what you do, Jit. And before I actually get Keya on the screen, because Keya has some questions and she's written a book on how to write a book, essentially. So she wants to ask you some questions on how you as an author has approached the topic of writing your book.
Okay, so Jit, I tried to keep this as simple as possible. Don't want to get you freaked out by my questions. So my first question is, when you're writing, do you start with an outline, or do you prefer to write freely and let the story go as you write? Do you prefer making an outline beforehand?
No, I usually just go freely, just to wing it out, then make some fixes because sometimes I go over time and overconfident, and then it goes bad, so I have to fix it once again.
Okay, so how do you plan the chapters beforehand?
I plan the chapters by first going on the titles. What will it be related to? Can I make them funny, or should I make them serious? I have to make the genre of the titles by one, trying to relate them to the chapters a bit, and then not. It's like a mix of things together.
It's nice to know. So you're saying that you write your story first, and then depending on that you make your chapters.
Yes, yeah.
That's an interesting way of going about it. Okay, so my next question is, what's your approach to when it comes to planning the structure of your outline? Before starting to write, do you have any plot points, or do you make a graph that can help you go about writing your book?
So I did kind of make a kind of structure on how I would write the book, and I did make some kind of plot structure in that I have to follow, so that I can write the chapters related and write the whole book based on that kind of plot.
Interesting. So have you ever written small notes on sticky notes, or maybe you have a notebook which you write whatever comes to your idea, and then when you're sitting down to write your book, you put all that together and write that chapter?
Yeah, actually I used my old iPad, it was given to me long ago. I used that same Apple Notes and wrote the book there completely, one by one.
It's nice to know. Okay, so my next question is, in your opinion, how important do you think it is to have a clear beginning, middle, and end when writing a story? And how do you make sure that each part flows together?
It should be out of a 10, 100, because this is very important when writing a book. The chapters should flow so that it seems like, wow, this chapter is connected with this, and so on. And the book should be interesting while using these kind of mechanisms, so that you can make it a lot better.
That's nice to know. So yeah, I think I can relate with what you're saying. When reading a fictional book especially, one chapter gets over and another chapter starts, if the chapter starts completely from a new beginning, it's really hard to connect the points between each chapter. So I like what you said. So moving on, when you write your stories, do you think about a message or a cause that you want to share with your readers?
So when writing a book, what you should do, number one, the best point is not to limit your imagination. That's number one. Don't limit your imagination. When you limit your imagination and just stick up to this, you cannot think behind that wall. If you think behind that same wall, you can think better ideas and make a better book. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. So, what is your cause or message that you shared in Legends of Icarus, Part 1, Part 2, and the other two books that you wrote?
So the message is to, like, when you're learning something, you shouldn't be just limiting into this or that. Let's say if it is like a fictional thing, magic, or is it just like general knowledge like science, math? Again, like imagination, you shouldn't limit to yourself that point. You should go like to another book. Let's say you were going for a social science test. You're just seeing one book. You're not going for the other book. You should go for that other book and search it on websites. And you should get more and more knowledge of that same subject. You shouldn't go limit yourself for that point.
So the message that you are sharing from your book is that don't put a limit to anything.
Yeah,
Like just explore and imagine.
Yeah, just imagine everything, explore everything.
It's great. I like how you related it with a social studies test. So thank you for that. Okay, now moving on to my next question, my second last question. How do you make sure your story is different from others? Is there something do you have something that is special that you add so that it makes it different from other authors?
I think it's a kind of a secret sauce for me. It's like a secret thing, like salt. It's so important. Like, let's say the names, okay? We are trying to create a character name. What should it be? Should it be the old Daniel or should it be something else? So I don't go for those old names like Mary, Daniel, Carl. No. I just think what? Should I be amphibian plus some Daniel, Amphail, like something like that? So no. All these names were not real. So I made something outside the box.
It's nice. I have read a few parts of your books, and the names are just so different that I think what you're trying to say here is that it's the name of the characters that makes your book different from others, right?
Yeah, it's like the name of the characters, the story of the characters. It should be different, so that it makes it like, wow, who's this guy? I want to meet him in real life. It's like that.
Yeah, and I think making your character be that kind of person really keeps the reader going throughout this whole story. So yeah, that's a really nice way of going about making your story different from others. So now just for my last question, can you share an example of a story you have read where the other authors can you share an example of a story where you've read where the author's cause made it stand out from others' books, like other books?
So it's not really fictional, it's more of a general subject. The cause of the author is really different. He's completely different. I would say yoga psychology. It's about basically spiritualness. He's not like other sages. Like, he tells properly, he follows all the spiritual things, but he tells it in a way that actually touches me. That's what.
Okay, that's really nice. And yeah, I think that's all the questions from my end. And I'm sorry if it was too many or it was too hard. But I enjoyed getting the answers from you.
You guys are how old? Like, Jit, you're what, 10 years old? And Keya, you are what,
14.
14?
Turning 14, yeah.
And so much of imagination, creativity, and inquiry. My God, this is mind blowing. But you know what? I have now, I have to give opportunity to everybody else who's joined in to ask their questions. So, in case you guys are feeling tired, you need to have a sip of water and feel fresh all over again. So, now opening up the forum for questions, amazing questions from amazing people who are gathered here. Anybody for any degree of complexity is allowed for the authors here because they seem to be very, very mature for their ages. Jit, I love your imaginative, approach. I think the names, like Keya was saying, they themselves attract so much of attention that anybody would want to pick up a copy, and that's a great strategy, I think, as an author. And Keya, I know you're strong on causes and life experiences, and that's another brilliant approach. But can I ask the first question, if it's okay with you guys? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So my question is for Jit, because Keya, I know, I know her in and out. So Jit, I wanted to know, when was the first time you actually knew that you could write something?
Okay, that was a very long time ago. Like, I was making small stories that people couldn't understand then. So it was like only restricted to me. I was like reading. So it didn't make sense then, but I could write something, at least a story with a name that time.
Just to have that grasp on your thought, because I think that's the first thing, right? That you have that thought and you have a grasp on it. That yes, I want to pen down something, and that I think is the most difficult, part for any author, right? Anybody who wants to turn into a writer or an author. Author is a very, very, very complex word, but I think that grit, holding on to the thought and wanting to really convert that into written words is a threshold that many people can't really sort of bridge, right, and get on the other side, where I think once you start writing and there is a lot of clarity that flows in, and then you can keep editing and having version controls, etc., all of that comes in. But that whole edge, I think, is getting yourself to start writing. And I have an open question for people who are gathered here. How many people here really have that knack to put that pen on paper, or tap away on the keyboard and get imaginative or write purposefully? There you are. So Nirupama auntie actually has also written a book. So Nirupama auntie, shoot away. What's been your experience?
The first time was very random. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and I was assisting a psychiatrist to script a radio show on parenting in World Space Satellite Radio, and we had some 16 episodes of that, so that got turned into a book. And yeah, so after that, slowly I started writing articles, and I started writing a blog. And we had a conference on spiritual aspects of autism, and I was asked to take copies of one of the articles I wrote and distribute it to everyone who comes to the conference. I thought it'd look nice if I put it in a nice PDF format and, make it look properly structured and all that. But slowly, with my daughter's help, she was fresh, in NID, and I started illustrating it, and she started helping me out, and it turned into a proper book.
And that's so nice to see, right? I think, when a piece of writing converts itself in a book format, and I'm talking about the proper paperback format, which we are which we, at least our generation, is very used to, and we've been using that growing up. I think that itself is a magical moment. I don't know, Jit.
Yes.
Do you and Kia, do you guys have that affinity for paperbacks, the hard copies of books? You saw how Nirupama auntie was exuding joy, right, when she said that it turned into a book. So for us, book always meant paperbacks, right? So we have collections and collections of hard books or paperbacks, as they call it. So what is your thing? Do you feel that it can be in an e-format? I know BriBooks has launched the e-books and audiobooks this time. So what is your take? Anyone of you can answer this. Do you think a ebook has the same feeling of attachment for a writer? Yeah, yeah, Jit, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, for me, this is my opinion, not any others. I'm not speaking for anyone, just myself. So, in my opinion, I think some authors will feel that attachment to themselves, but for me, no, not at all. I just want to just touch it at least for once, read the pages while I have it in my hands, and just see it without having to look on a screen.
Even I don't have an ebook. My book doesn't have any copy.
That's okay. I think that's okay because it travels. It travels anyways, right? A book is so lightweight, you can carry it anywhere. Yeah, ebooks, you can carry multiple of them. But thank you, Nirupama, for I think sharing that bit because our kids who are growing into adopting this mode of expression, which is writing. I think that itself is a brilliant habit. So whether you continue to write and become authors bigger, with a bigger name and a better fame, I think that is immaterial. But if you continue that habit of writing, no matter at what stage you go in life or you are at life, I think that will create a lot of clarity in your path forward. And that has been my journey. I've been writing little bits here and there, various journals. Yes, I don't have the courage to write a book as yet, but I know somebody here who badly wanted to write a book, and I'm going to spotlight Mr. Chatterjee if that is a waking hour in London.
Can I just show my book quickly?
Oh, yes, please do. Oh, I have a copy of this.
Yes.
Brilliant. I love the
It's a small
illustrations.
little booklet.
It's a beautiful book, and I don't know where it is available, but the illustrations are so gentle and yet so effective. So I don't know, is it Prakriti who's helped you or who has? Brilliant work.
I illustrated it myself.
So
It's
sweet.
available on Amazon.
Excellent. You should share the link. So should you, Jit.
Yes.
All the authors here, please share your links on the chat because that's a brilliant way to network as authors. So please do. And I would encourage everyone to pick up each other's book. Marketing for everybody for now.
I remember when we went to meet Miss Nirupama auntie. It was like I was giving my book to Nirupama auntie and she was giving her book to me, and then we autographed it. So it was an autograph from author to author, and it was really nice.
Yes, welcome, Mr. Chatterjee. Thank you so much for joining in. And for everybody who doesn't know Mr. Chatterjee, a small introduction. He has been the most gracious person since he's supported Keya's journey all along, whether it was with her crowdfunding, part of it, or with her books. I think he's been a very, very strong believer in our journey. So thank you, Mr. Chatterjee, and hope everybody is doing well in London.
Far away from writing anything, but it is on my bucket list. So let's hope I do it. Since it was mentioned, I did get myself a copy of Stephen King. Actually, it has been there for a while to get an idea of what writing is all about, to get it done. But reading books has always been a part of me. I don't know how many books I have read. And regarding ebooks, yes, I have an Amazon Kindle subscription, so I do read on my commute, which is a good way to read. Otherwise, you don't have any other time, really speaking, to read or do anything creative if you are a working person. So that's how I am catching up on my reading, but I do prefer paperbacks. everybody in our generation prefers paperbacks, but I have changed my habit. I now read ebooks regularly. As I said, I have an Amazon Kindle subscription, and because one more reason is that if you read, you can write. So that's one of the things I've picked up, that otherwise I won't get around to reading only. So I read on the commute and try to build up that momentum inside me that someday I may be able to write something. But I have written.
You're a good
LinkedIn
writer.
stuff.
Your language grasp is extremely polished, and it's nice. In fact, we have two young authors here on the screen with you. What is your takeaway or give back to the session that you've just heard, where both of them have been speaking?
Nowhere near close to them, even at
That's
this
right.
point of time. They are so self-assured, so confident, they know what they are doing. They're clearly far, far ahead in their journey of writing. And obviously, they will go far. I wish them all the best. But we have started late. Never mind.
Very
It's
late.
better late than never. It's better late than
Nice.
never. Yeah.
Nice.
What do you plan on writing your book on? If you do write one.
If it has to be if it has to be a big one, I think I should be doing short stories first.
Yes, Madhushri, over to you. What did you have to say?
Yes, I don't have any questions for Keya or Jit, but I had a question to Sir. Do you have any book recommendations for us to read?
Those days we used to read just paperbacks, Archer, Hadley, MacLean, anything we got our hands on. At least that was how I used to read books. There was no really preferences, anything. And later on, of course, we switched to things like James Clavell, or I like particularly Wilbur Smith. All action stuff, all action, adventure, thriller stuff. And they are paperbacks, hardcore paperbacks. Well, Amitav Ghosh, I would recommend, please read that trilogy. There's nothing like it. It's a historical
Brilliant.
one, but it's really a good one. I would say Indian authors in English. Any of them, Vikram Seth.
Honestly, there is so much to read out there, and I know to begin is a confusing spot. But as a person who has to shift from not reading much to reading a lot, to liking what you read and having your kind of select genres that you want to read, you need to have a feel for everything. And when I say that, you have to read as widely as possible, starting from fiction to non-fiction to philosophy to sociology to spiritual to everything, to figure out which is your sweet spot. So what could be ours could be very different from what you start liking eventually. Jit, I know, has a flavor for action and a lot of imaginative writing.
Typical boy.
Very typical boy, but then it might change. You never know. Some of the very, very smart writers are Indian authors today, right? Indian men authors. So don't get nailed down is what I have to say. And in any form, this is too young to get nailed down to any one kind of genres and say that this is my type, right? So explore as much as you can write and as much as you can read. Do keep reading. I think that's more important. And with changing times, how important it is getting to just be aware of various things, right? So also read on science and how you can save the planet, and on climate change and all these things that are going to be very, very important in the coming days.
I think it's been so enlightening listening to everyone here and their perspectives and their callings, and it's very inspiring. I also have been an author and I do write, but I think that I was limiting myself to the calling aspect to make it more realistic to real life situations and to support causes and things like that. But I think it's a very unique personal journey for anybody who writes, and these kids are just amazing, and I think they are limitless visionaries, and I wish them all the best so that they may leave a mark just the way they are already doing at such a young age. And I think I wish we had this kind of chats during our younger days. It would probably enhance the horizon even better. But it's been a great experience to be just hearing everybody and their perspectives, and I think everybody should go with their calling and inspiration and go ahead and write whenever possible and the opportunity arises. So all the very best, kids, and thanks to BriBooks for giving them a platform to express themselves.
So we had another question from a very, very chirpy Madhushri. Yes, Madhushri, who is the question for?
It's for Keya, so let me ask it. So it's basically like in the journey of her writing, what was the most fun part to write of her book, and like what was the hardest time writing? Like which part of the book was the hardest to write?
I think the whole process was really fun to write, like especially being able to interview authors like Jit, Drishna, and a few others. So I think that was the best part, and being able to write down whatever I had learned, whatever I had experience of writing my other two books, put that into words so that it could help other young children and even older authors to get them to share their stories. So I think that's the best part. And the hardest, I would say, is that I did have a few writer's block once in a while. So maybe in the chapter of the plots and the story frameworks, I did kind of get stuck in those two chapters. So it took me time to write those two chapters. But I think it was more fun than anything being difficult.
Yeah. And the same question goes to Jit also.
What is the funnest part of writing a book? Is there any fun part for me? Yes, there is. Deciding on what the characters are and everything, the storyline, making them into my puppets is so fun. Seriously. You can just bash them up or you can just make them sleep on his bed. Seriously. And hardest part is to, trying to tweak it so that it looks good. You need a lot of, keep on fixing it. And you have to have a lot of focus to see all the issues in your story.
I think with AI coming in, I'm not sure how easy or difficult you guys are finding it. I think, honestly, to me as a grown-up, it seems very, very easy now because I've seen the tougher part. And maybe, one of the reasons why a lot of grown-ups like us have not written a book when we were your age is because there was nothing convenient for us like how you guys have today at your access, right? We never had BriBooks or even Amazon for that matter, where we could just write and publish. So you have to thank your stars, honestly speaking, with the conveniences coming in and everything becoming so easy and comfortable and accessible, you should make the most of it. And Madhushri, that means that grab that pen, paper, laptop or iPad or whatever and then just start, expressing. I think more than writing, the intent is to express yourself, right? So if you are good at expressing yourself, which means that you can spell out your thoughts and you can put it down together and it sounds very convincing to another person, that person can see sense in what you've written, trust me, that trait itself, that habit itself is going to take you a long way into your careers, right? Because writing is not just reading your textbooks and writing your answers to get marks, right? Writing is also a very, very strong tool which helps you to express, put your point across, win arguments when you're faced with big questions in a room full of people. Tomorrow you could be working for large organizations and somebody who can write well, trust me, can get their way out. And that is why they say that, a smart talker is far more capable than a smart graduate or somebody who has excelled in academics and got big degrees, right? So you should know how to walk your talk. And to walk your talk, you should be able to express, and writing helps you do that. So that is my simple, I think, 2 cents to add. So, any questions for each other, guys? Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to tell something about what you said. Like you said, we have the advantages of platforms and all to publish our books, but all the adults, you all have the advantage of experiences. Like because you all
Exactly.
have experiences, you can also write about it.
No, absolutely. And that is why I don't think there is any age, right? I don't think there's any age to writing. And a lot of us keep postponing it for our, when we retire, we're going to think of writing a book. We have to
Old
travel.
age.
Yeah, old age is not so old anymore, but I'm only thinking that a lot of grown-ups get caught into their day-to-day affairs, their routines like work and earning a living, bringing up their children, looking after the families, that everything that is precious to us gets, put at the back of our mind and remains there, right? So I think it becomes more about going through existence, it becomes like a survival story, and it gets lost. So this is a very good time to actually start something like what you guys have started and cultivate it. Because, I keep telling this, Jit and Madhushree, to Keya all the time, that an author, becoming an author, right, or becoming uh, an artist, if you think about it, in a very logical fashion, you can make a career out of it. You have to be so good at what you do that you can mainstream it in this direction itself. Do you agree, Jit? Yeah, you don't have to be a scientist and an author, right? You can be an author and a scientist, if you know what I'm saying. So your primary profession can be that of being a writer or a painter or an artist, and any degree that you earn after that can become your sidekick, which you can do for earning some extra money. I'm just saying. But if you're a good writer, you'll be making money too. And it's not just about that, it's about how good you get at it. Anything else you want to share? Now, 2 seconds of silence. Excellent. So with that, I'm going to end today's exciting session. I think we had a lot of heart to heart in this session, which has been amazing. And I can't thank all you guys for joining in, especially Jit. Jit, your imaginative, skills are extraordinary. I think you should keep emoting and writing. And Keya, your skill of just putting a point across is getting better, because I've seen your journey from day one to day now. I think it's getting more and more polished. This time you had taken no help from us whatsoever, and every written word, every spoken word, every edited version of your book has been more than 200% your own. So kudos to you for doing that. And I know that my job is becoming little and more and more little day by day as a mom, and I want to be your best friend for life. So that's where it's heading. So thank you so much, guys. It was rocking to have you guys over. Jit, keep writing, lots of love. Madhushree, I want to read your book very soon and have a book reading.
I don't think so. I'll be writing.
Oh, you can.
Madhushree, you can do it.
Of course,
No,
you
I
can do
can't.
it.
I mean, I can't write at all. It's super
She will
hard.
do it. She will do it.
It's okay, you can do it. It's okay. Even if it's hard for us, it's less hard for you. Now you know the secrets of us.
See, there are two writers and two non-writers on the screen right now. Okay, so we are a balance. So both of us will start writing. Okay, Madhushree, you and me will start. Let's try. Okay?
Just start writing. Just start writing. Don't think about it. Just don't think that it's going to be bad. Like the last chapter in my book, at the end of the day, something comes out, and it is possible, like, to write at least a few words, if not a whole chapter.
No, or you can co-author. You guys can also co-author with each other. You can find another friend to write with. Guys, there's something called co-authoring, okay? Which means that you can together write a book. So that's a good thing to do too. On that note, if I may, thank everyone, okay, for joining in and making this whole 1 hour that we spent with each other so precious, because I feel these exchanges will trigger some thoughts here and there, and whoever is listening to the recording after this will get inspired. But before we go, I need that very cheesy and very naughty pick for all of us. So can we do that naughty pick, please? That's my favorite part. Okay, guys. On the count of 3, 1, 2, and 3.